Welcome to the MadisonAV webinar on Auracast, an introduction to the technology, use cases, and products. Thank you for joining us. We'll get started in just a moment. But first, a little housekeeping. We will be recording the session, which you'll be able to access on completion. Your camera and microphone are disabled to ensure a professional experience for all. If you'd like to ask a question, click on the Q&A button on the top menu bar and type your question into the window on the right-hand side. We'll be monitoring the questions and we'll try to answer some during the session. We will allow time to address some questions at the end. Any that we can't get to will be responded to after the webinar. So don't use the chat option. Please put your questions into the Q&A area. On today's webinars, your host will be myself, Rob Mayer. I'm the product line manager for Bettear Auracast and Wi-Fi solutions, as well as Human Technic assistive listening products. And I'll be joined by Cameron Lucas, Madison's technical manager, who's been providing assistive listening support to our channel for over 10 years. And we'll be monitoring the Q&A and we'll select some questions for discussion at the end of our webinar. Our agenda today is going to cover an overview of Auracast, the key capabilities and why it's important, the components that make up an Auracast system, and we'll discuss some use case examples. We'll also talk about compliance. We'll have a brand overview for Bettear Auracast products, and then work down the list of what next steps you should consider. And finally, leaving some time for Q&A. For those of you that don't know us well, MadisonAV is an Australian-owned distributor of specialised audiovisual products with a national footprint and over 30 brands in our portfolio. A small handful of the brands we represent are shown here, covering Harman brands, including AMX video and control products, as well as JBL audio products. We also have Philips screens, Yealink conferencing solutions, Nariva microphone bars, and other connectivity brands, including Netgear switches and Icron USB extension solutions. We have a large team supporting our partners with pre-sales system design and specification support, post-sales technical assistance and a national repair centre, as well as training, events, sales, and marketing assistance. So on to our topic for today, Auracast, and an introduction to the technology, use cases, and products. Auracast is a new broadcast audio standard based on Bluetooth Low Energy. Unlike traditional Bluetooth, which connects one device to one user, Auracast enables one-to-many audio streaming. The audio quality is high, the speed of transfer is fast, and barriers to entry are low. Your next pair of headphones or earbuds are quite likely to incorporate an Auracast receiver. Hearing aid and cochlear implant manufacturers are working to incorporate the technology in their next generation of products. Some are already available now. And venues, public spaces, corporate offices, and anywhere that amplifies audio are looking to see how they can include Auracast support for customers who suffer some level of hearing loss and for those who don't. Auracast's appeal goes well beyond hearing support. All of that sounds wonderful, but what makes Auracast different? What are its key capabilities? Auracast can broadcast audio to an unlimited number of in-range receivers, which don't need to be paired like a traditional Bluetooth device. Accessing an Auracast stream is like selecting a radio station. You click on the stream name and connect. Auracast is built on the new Bluetooth LE standard with benefits in power usage, quality, and speed. Reduced power consumption for devices provides a longer battery life for receivers, and importantly, for hearing aids. If you've ever had experience with connecting a hearing aid to a mobile phone via traditional Bluetooth, you'll know just how quickly this drains your hearing aid battery, which could lead to a major inconvenience. LC3 is the new audio codec for Bluetooth LE audio that provides a significantly better audio quality than the previous standard while using less data, which in turn also improves battery life. Consistent low latency of less than 40 milliseconds, which satisfies the specifications as set in the Australian standard AS 1428.5 revision 2021. This means that the audio is going to arrive in your hearable at a similar time as the amplified audio in the room to increase intelligibility. I already mentioned selecting an Auracast stream is like choosing a radio station, while scanning a QR code or tapping on an NFC tag to take you directly to a stream simplifies this even further for the user. Auracast streams can be secured via a password of up to 16 digits to maintain privacy. Passwords can be automatically applied to a receiver. They can be added manually or in some brands via the above mentioned QR code or NFC technology. NFC is particularly useful when you only want to allow access to the stream to those who are physically in the room. And Auracast offers solutions for tour guiding via portable transmitters with a range up to 50 meters. Why does this matter now more than ever? Let's consider the numbers. Globally, over 1.5 billion people live with some form of hearing loss, and about 20% of Australians report some level of hearing difficulty. Traditional assistive listening systems like hearing loops or FM transmitters have served us well, but they're often costly, inflexible, and underutilized because they require purpose-built receivers. Auracast is currently being built into hearables like over-the-ear headphones, earpods, and hearing aids. A study commissioned by the Bluetooth Special Interest Group estimates that over 2.5 million Auracast deployments will exist by the end of the decade. This is no fringe technology, it's a wave of change. And for public venues, it's an opportunity to improve inclusion while staying ahead of accessibility expectations. And be in no doubt, it will become an expectation from your patrons with their new hearables very, very soon. In understanding how Auracast is used, it's important to know the three key elements in an Auracast system. First, there's an Auracast transmitter that is connected to your audio source. It can be a single or a dual channel transmitter with a range of up to 100 meters. The Auracast receiver can be a manufacturer device to which you connect cabled headphones or a neck loop for users that are still using a telecoil hearing aid, or it could be a personal device with a built-in Auracast receiver like new generation hearing aids, cochlear implants, and headphones. The third component is the Assistant app, which resides on a mobile device. Since hearables are often small with minimal controls, you need an assistant to display the Auracast streams that are available to the receiver. The assistant allows the user to choose which channel will be played and enter a password if the stream's protected. Importantly, once the stream is selected, the Auracast assistant, in other words, your phone, is out of the loop. The Auracast stream passes then directly from the transmitter to the receiver, which is really important in maintaining a low latency. Whilst we're looking at a mobile phone, it's important to understand that most phones are not yet Auracast enabled. Android has only recently announced full support for Auracast in version 14 of the platform. And even if you have that operating system installed, the manufacturer will still need to update their software to have Auracast compatibility. Apple have not yet announced support for Auracast, but we know it's just a matter of time. On the flip side, even though your phone may not be Auracast enabled yet, you can still use an app to talk to an Auracast device, like a set of earbuds, to select a stream and manage the device as an assistant, as pictured on the screen. Now let's look at some of the real-world use cases for Auracast. It's most likely that the highest use of Auracast products in the Pro AV space in the near future will be for assistive listening purposes. Auracast technology is small enough to fit into newer hearing aids and cochlear implants, offering a higher quality sound whilst using significantly less battery power. Consumer earbuds and headphones will also offer Auracast, supporting those who only have mild hearing loss. Instead of just making do until their hearing worsens, they can now have support via their personal device. Many headphones allow you to customize the sound output to suit your listening profile. We're in a transition phase where the technology is just becoming available. Auracast manufacturers will also make their own receivers, which can be offered at performance venues and within offices to ensure compliance with hearing augmentation standards. Venue-provided receivers will also allow the connection of a neck loop to work with the older telecoil hearing aids. And in the home, you can enjoy your favorite TV show without disturbing others in the room whilst using your own headphones that you use every day. Next, we've got public audio. Auracast opens up opportunities for a simple, high-quality method of broadcasting audio in public locations. This is an inclusive technology that can benefit everyone, no matter whether you suffer from hearing loss or not. Some examples. Think about the last time you're at a sporting event and struggling to hear the ground announcements over the crowd. Imagine being able to receive them or the commentary of the game directly to your earbuds. The same technology can enhance your experience when watching sport at the pub and providing the ability to listen to the broadcast over the background noise in the venue. With Auracast, you can select the audio of interest from places like silent screens in a gym or a waiting room. When walking into an airport, you'll be able to access general announcements or those from your specific departure gate. At conferences and lectures, overcoming poor in-house room acoustics, or improve the comprehension of speech with accents by receiving the audio directly to your headphones. And in a courtroom where the stream needs to be secure and not accessed by those outside the room. Auracast is ideal for public spaces where translation services are provided. Select a broadcast in your own language using your personal headphones. Tour guides will have a portable transmitter to broadcast to an unlimited number of in-range receivers using a standard that can be received by newer hearing aids or personal headphones, reducing the investment by the venue, whilst allowing participants to use a device that is familiar to them. Large groups can be accommodated much more easily with better results at higher quality. And the join process can be simplified to scanning a QR code or providing a receiver that's already locked to the stream. Can we take this experience further? Some of the transmitters can incorporate media streaming of a pre-recorded audio file for richer experiences. The tour guide can push content as required, or in a self-guided tour, the user could access a recording by tapping an NFC logo on the exhibit. Beyond the user benefits, there's also another layer to consider, and that's compliance. Accessibility regulations are tightening. Under Australia's Disability Discrimination Act and the National Construction Code, many types of venues are required to offer equitable access to audio. We're seeing a shift towards mandating not just the availability of assistive listening, but also its usability. Under existing legislation, venues often must provide signage, receivers, and support for headphones and neck loops. And these requirements aren't going away. Auracast aligns beautifully with this. By deploying a standard that's both cutting edge and compliant out of the box, venues reduce their legal risk and ensure regulatory compliance. It's a proactive step that communicates we take inclusion seriously. So what considerations do you need to make when implementing Auracast? First, conduct a simple assessment. Where in the venue do audiences need clear, accessible audio? Is it auditoriums, meeting rooms, ticket counters? What's the size of the space you're working with? And really importantly, who is the audience? Bluetooth uses the 2.4 gigahertz band, which is also used heavily by other devices on your Wi-Fi. In busy environments, you should use Spectrum Analyzer to understand and minimize congestion, which will in turn improve the Auracast transmission range. Next, identify your existing AV ecosystem. Auracast solutions integrate seamlessly into standard audio outputs. You don't need a full infrastructure overhaul. A hybrid solution is an effective way of including traditional telecall users and those with newer Auracast-enabled devices. Then consider your audience. Will you offer dedicated receivers or will you encourage BYOD? Both options can be supported. Finally, education is paramount. Signage is essential, but so is training staff to help users connect. Adoption is as much about people as it is about the technology. So what products are we at Madison recommending? Bettear is one of the first companies globally to offer purpose-built Auracast hardware. Their transmitters and receivers are compact, cost-effective, and intuitive. They offer and support open standards. They're built to scale from a small room right through to a 2,000-seat venue. And they come with software for control and analysis. There are charging solutions and a device for seamless connection to secure streams. And MadisonAV brings local stock, technical support, and deployment guidance to ensure your rollout is smooth from end to end. So let's take a deeper dive. The B-Caster is the Auracast transmitter. It's a dual stream transmitter with up to 100-meter range, and that's in all directions from the transmitter. Bettear designed their own antenna to ensure the maximum range possible. Not only does it achieve under 40 milliseconds latency, independent tests have shown it outperforms all competitors when it comes to speed of transmission. It's also PoE and can cascade power and audio to a second transmitter via a single Ethernet cable. Further options include a Dante audio model and the Caster XT, which is a transmitter with external antenna to allow the transmitter to be hidden without compromising its range. The BRTX is Bettear's own Auracast receiver, as well as a portable transmitter for a tour guide solution, covering up to 50 meters. It's got a simple display that's clear for all users and buttons for stream selection and volume. Combine the BRTX with headphones or a neck loop in receiver mode and use a headset microphone in transmitter mode. The advanced version includes a built-in media player for streaming audio files and NFC connectivity. Uniquely, there are also 3 color choices, which is really handy when wanting to designate receivers to specific areas or individual functions. As it says, the B-Pass is a secure streaming access panel. Initially, it was designed in conjunction with Australian courtrooms. The B-Pass allows the user to connect to a protected stream by scanning a QR code or tapping on the NFC logo. Access via NFC ensures that only those people who are physically in the room and tap that icon can access the stream. Importantly, an administrator can renew that access key on demand via a control system or based on a specific trigger, for example, no audio being transmitted for a certain period of time. Lastly, charging solutions. They range from a simple 4-bay charger through to a 10-bay charging bank called the Smart Hive that can be desk or rack mounted, which is unique to this solution. It can be cascaded together and controlled over the network via the Hive Central software. The Smart Hive charger and the software make it really easy to allocate receivers to locations and streams, bulk assign their functionality, apply updates, and quickly identify the receivers that have the most charge so you're ready for the next use. For those that need to provide Auracast support for smaller spaces on tighter budgets, our sister brand Human Technique offer a smaller space Auracast transmitter called the Iris Max. Initially, this was designed for TV listening. The Iris Max transmitter is ideal for a single audio source requiring a range of less than 30 meters. Being standards-based, it's compatible with Bettear Auracast receivers or third-party Auracast headphones and earbuds. And the good news is that stock of all products I have just shown is available right now. So where do we go from here? Should you be considering Auracast now? The answer is absolutely. Production of Auracast-enabled hearables and hearing aids is well underway, with over 130 compatible devices already listed on the Bluetooth website, which is a valuable reference site. Expect to see many more in the coming months. Several manufacturers, including Bettear, are already supplying complete commercial solutions with transmitters, receivers, charging stations, and cloud management applications. How do you manage the transition from old to new technology? You can install Auracast alongside an existing induction loop in a hybrid model, which makes the whole transition much more natural. This is a great way to service current needs while offering a premium experience for users with new devices who are expecting higher quality, personalization, and convenience. Do Auracast systems meet the National Construction Code, Building Code of Australia and the Australian Standard, AS 1428.5? They certainly do. Auracast systems sit in the RF systems category and can achieve the latency benchmark of less than 40 milliseconds. The standard stipulates that your transmitter must cover 95% of the required space. Regarding receivers, you must provide one receiver per 25 people with a minimum of 2. Therefore, for any audience size up to 50 people, you must supply at least 2 receivers. Beyond 50 people, it's 1 receiver per additional 25 people up to 500, where the ratio becomes less. So where can I get further information? Bluetooth.com/Auracast is a great starting point for referencing Auracast capabilities in assistive listening and in public locations. It maintains a database of products that are now Auracast capable. I note that they're also building a database of venues that wish to promote themselves as Auracast ready, which will hopefully be up and running soon. Bettear.com is the manufacturer's website providing the latest information on their range of Auracast products and solutions, plus all the specifications, technical documents and user guides that you require. And MadisonAV.com.au is the local website for Bettear's Australian distributor, displaying product information, stock availability, pricing, and the larger range of Pro AV products. So hopefully all the information I've given you today has been enough to make you want to learn more or initiate a trial. If you scan the QR code that's up on the screen now, you can access further product information, request product design support from our technical services team, ask us for a quotation, request a product demonstration from one of our team who are located all across the country, and plan a proof of concept at your premises to see how the products really work in situ. So we've got a small amount of time left at the end of the session. So I'm going to ask Cam if he has spotted some questions that he would like to spotlight in this session. And yes, before we do that, the QR code that's on the screen is still the same one as before for those of you wanting to request more information. Over to you, Cam.
Oh, hey, Rob. Thanks for that presentation. That was really great.
You're welcome.
So yeah, we did have a few questions. Early on, Frank was asking about how much does it cost to get a venue Auracast ready. So this is a little bit kind of depends. realistically, depending on the size of the space, a single transmitter might be enough. If you've already got an existing system, you potentially don't need to add any extra receivers or anything because you're adding on a supplemental system. So it might be as simple as just adding a transmitter. If you haven't got any assistive listening system, you would probably need to add receivers. And it comes back to what Rob said about you need, one per 25, minimum of 2. So if you've got a, 250 seat theatre, then there's 10 receivers. We've also had a couple of questions from Glenn as well, which are actually pretty good. So one of the questions was, is there a limit to the number of subscribers to a stream? And no, it's broadcast, so you can add as many as you like from that point of view. He's also asked about overlapping transmit zones. So no, you can definitely overlap transmitters. There will be a limit because there's a limited amount of bandwidth available in the RF spectrum that they operate in. But typically 3 or 4 in the same space is not going to be a problem. And yes, you can also have 2 transmitters fed with the same audio presenting as the same stream ID, which will essentially just increase your range. Your Auracast receiver will automatically hop between those 2 transmitters, and that will work just fine. And David just now has asked about hybrid with infrared. Yeah, you can mix and match this with anything. So whether it's infrared, RF, induction loop, something else, they're all separate technologies. And so you can mix and match however you want. You could even use all 4 of them at the same time. So other questions that we had offline, there was a question about the audio quality. Do you have any info on that, Rob?
The audio quality, you've got 3 choices now. So you can set it at 12 kilohertz, 24, and up to 48 kilohertz, which I believe is basically CD quality audio.
Yeah, cool. That's pretty good. I've heard that for a lot of wearables like hearing aids and cochlear implants, that their default is 24 kilohertz. So from that point of view, it's probably, go with 24K. That's a sampling rate for those of you listening at home. So that will make it so it's, compatible with most things. And lastly, we've been asked about the range. So in ideal circumstances, it's about 100 meters line of sight. Obviously, that's going to depend a little bit on the actual venue and what the materials of the walls and stuff are made out of. But yeah, up to 100 meters. And somebody's asked about requirements for configuring and certifying. That's actually a good question, which is quite difficult to easily answer. Unlike induction loops of the past where you'd have a field strength meter and you could prove performance at a specific location, the other systems are not quite that simple. It's more of a yes or no, like a pass or fail. But because it's digital, it's one of those things that it's either it works in that location or doesn't. So in a similar way, you would probably create a map of the venue, choose a number of points where you could actually test the system, and then just mark that off, and that would probably be your way of certifying the installation. And somebody is also asked about the sample rate and latency. From our tests, it hasn't actually made an impact at all. Theoretically, the higher sampling rate should actually have a lower latency, but in our tests, we haven't seen a difference. There's also a question about outdoor compatible solutions. So with the system, or with the Bcaster that has the external antennas on it, that would be the solution for that. So because it works in the 2.4 gig space, you'd need to get an antenna that's going to be suitable for your environment, and then you just hook it up to your transmitter that way.
Covered everything?
I think so.
Fantastic. That's awesome. Thanks, Cam. Well, that concludes our introduction to Auracast. I hope you found it beneficial. A copy of the recording will be made available to you shortly. Thanks very much for your attendance, and don't hesitate to contact MadisonAV if we can assist you in any way on your Auracast journey. Thanks very much and have an awesome day.